Hello, Miami alumni and friends. JJ Slager here from the Alumni Association at Miami University. And I'm so excited to be joining you today for a webinar with two outstanding professors from Miami, who I will introduce in just a moment. But we are here for Miami Presents, the Myaamia Center and Miami Art Education. And so we are very excited to hear the story and see more of what's going on with that. Those of you who are watching live, we appreciate you joining, and we would welcome your questions, comments, participation. There's an Ask a Question button right below your video on the webinar platform, so please don't hesitate to participate with us today. And with that, I'll go ahead and get some quick introductions out of the way. First, Dr. Stephanie Denker is joining us today, and she is Associate Professor of Art Education. And Stephanie, would you like to just share a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, JJ. Hello, alumni. I've been at Miami University since 2014. There is no other place I'd rather be. And a lot of that is because of this partnership work with the Myaamia Center. So I'm thrilled to be able to talk about it with you today.
Awesome. And then Luke, I'll cue you up. Luke Meekin is also a Dr. Luke Meekin, an Assistant Professor of Art Education at Miami University. So Luke, take it away. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then I will pull myself off, and I'll be back for questions at the end. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, JJ. Yeah, I'm in my second year teaching here actually at Miami University. I'm just got here, and I also feel so lucky to be here. When I was interviewing here just 2 years ago, I started to hear a bit from Dr. Denker about this amazing partnership, but I didn't realize how special it was and the scope that it had until I actually got to be here and sort of jump into it at first. And it's really incredible. I'm excited to have a chance to share it with everybody.
All right. Well, this is starting our presentation. We do want to make sure that we give a big shout out to Christina Fox at the Myaamia Center. She is our direct collaborator, and this presentation was developed in coordination with her. Okay, so it's important for us to make sure that everyone understands that Miami University's land acknowledgement was written in collaboration with the Myaamia Center. So I am going to read it because it is directly applicable to the work that we're doing. Miami University is located within the traditional homelands of the Myaamia and Shawnee people, who, along with other indigenous groups, ceded these lands to the United States in the first Treaty of Greenville in 1795. The Miami people, whose name our university carries, were forcibly removed from these homelands in 1846. In 1972, a relationship between Miami University and the Miami Tribe of Oklahoma began and evolved into a reciprocal partnership, including the creation of the Myaamia Center at Miami University in 2001. The work of the Myaamia Center serves the Miami Tribe community and is dedicated to the revitalization of Miami language and culture and to restoring that knowledge to the Myaamia people. Miami University and the Miami Tribe are proud of this work and of the more than 140 Myaamia students who have attended Miami since 1991 through the Myaamia Heritage Award Program. So yes, we feel like this work is directly connected to the goals of a land acknowledgement.
And kind of connected to those themes in the acknowledgement, right? And translating them into work, into the relationship that we have. This emblem that you saw on our title slide, you saw on the sign accompanying the land acknowledgement, and you may have seen on a lot of different Miami University merchandise and advertisements and things everywhere, is the Myaamia Heritage logo, which is actually developed in a collaborative process between the Miami Tribe of Oklahoma, specifically artist Julie Olds, who is a Miami Tribe citizen, and in partnership with Miami University and the designer Elise Capaccio, who's a Miami alum, not a Myaamia not a Miami Tribe citizen. So Miami University designer, Miami Tribal Citizen designer, and artist working together to develop this logo, reflecting the partnership between these two institutions, that reflects the over 50-year partnership between these two institutions since 1972, when Chief Forrest Olds had a meeting with President Philip Shriver here on campus. And this logo is co-owned by both the tribe and the university. Its use can only be sanctioned through approval by both the university and the tribe. In terms of the emblem itself, the black diamond represents the Miami tribe of Oklahoma, the Myaamia people, and it reflects the depth of time, the earned respect, and accumulated cultural wisdom of the tribe, as well as the tribe's deep ties to their homelands, which include the lands that the university is on right now, that we're presenting from right now. The red diamond represents the university, and it represents responsibility, sacrifice, and a commitment to gain and share knowledge. And that white diamond in the middle is an area of connection and collaboration, of shared clarity of vision, and it's a space for cooperation. And that red dot in the middle is the fire around which these two parties are meeting. And it reflects the warmth of that relationship, as well as the necessity of both parties to continue to tend that fire, to keep it alive, to keep that relationship healthy. And the overall aesthetic of the logo is based on the Myaamia artwork tradition of ribbon work, which ties into some of the work we do with our students that we'll be talking about later.
So these are just two images from campus. We wanted to include just the sign that's outside the Myaamia Center, which is located in the center of campus. And also the slide on the left is of inside Kara Strauss's office, just to show you how she is including pieces from culture, artwork, different important objects. Okay, next one. So we want to start ahead and go ahead into our partnership. So these are two important images. They're from our first and second year of teaching these lessons. They started in 2017. So the image on the left is of children, fourth graders, holding these paper bookmarks that we'll talk about. We are able to teach this craft that is inspired by ribbon work because the Myaamia Center and Miami Tribe citizens recommended this as a way for us to incorporate a piece of art and culture from Myaamia culture. So on the right are two of our art education students in a classroom in Oxford, introducing the lesson, that we incorporate language into some words that Myaamia people want fourth, fifth, and sixth graders to learn about. These are fourth graders here. So they learn pieces of artwork, of historical information about the Miami tribe, but we focus on contemporary connections and discuss pieces of art. So this is just a brief timeline, and Luke's going to talk in a minute about more about the timeline, but we started in 2017 with my Art Across the Curriculum class, who are juniors, and we started as a pilot with one school in Talawanda, Kramer Elementary. Then in 2018, we expanded to all fourth graders in Talawanda at the 3 elementary schools, and we had a workshop, which we'll start talking about in a minute. In 2020, Christina Fox came in as our collaborator. So we had multiple collaborators within the Myaamia Center when we started in 2017, but in 2020, Christina came in and has been with us ever since as our devoted partner. Luke and I meet with her every week to discuss this work, and it has flourished into all kinds of different partnerships. In 2021, we pulled in another school. So we have another partnership school in Cincinnati, Fairview Clifton German Language School. And this has increased a lot of things, a lot of our efforts that we've been doing. So we started with fourth grade and sixth grade, and now we've also added a fifth grade curriculum in. In 2022, the sixth graders from Fairview Clifton came to Miami University to see the actual artwork by Myaamia artists at the art museum. So that's been an important addition and allows our students to also participate in some museum education. 2023, we're so fortunate to get Luke Meekin on board, who has pretty much doubled our efforts with adding this curriculum into his class. So his elementary methods students teach the fourth grade lessons, and then the next year, I get them, and they're scaffolding curriculum and teaching the more urban students in Cincinnati, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
And so we just put together this sort of infographic to visualize and summarize all that growth that Stephanie was just talking about. And you can kind of see how we've expanded from an engagement with just 3 classrooms at a single elementary school all the way at the left on 2017 into a program that now serves students in all Oxford elementary schools, serves students in Cincinnati. It also involves 2 classes of Miami University students in this work. And now they're all working together to teach this scaffolded curriculum that involves multiple art forms, not just ribbon work, but traditional weaving and language work, and important concepts, right, to 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in a way that reflects their the learning standards for those different grades, and also introduces a wider range of significant concepts that the tribe is interested in us introducing Ohio elementary students to.
So in 2018, we had our first workshop. And what we mean by Myaamia Culture and Imagery Curriculum Workshop is that we worked with our Myaamia partners to develop a workshop from like 9 to 2 on a Saturday that's required for our students to attend who are teaching the lessons. It's foundational. It's early in September. We teach these lessons mid to late October. So this is the foundational knowledge that our students need to start developing the curriculum. This is that was a letterpress poster too, which was created in collaboration with Megan Sekulich, Myaamia artist and citizen, who was a studio art major here on campus at Miami and now works in the Myaamia Center. This is just an image of all the people that were in attendance for our first workshop. So it included the junior art education majors, also included some faculty members, museum educator, and some students from the University of Illinois who came to participate with us. So that's kind of our group for the first one. And then we've had a few others since. We feel like this is a really important foundational piece. And the Myaamia Center also feels like we can reach all the people at once with this workshop. So they're not only giving historical information, but also we have different workshops. So with the ribbon work demonstration by Karen Baldwin, this year we had a great workshop with Jared Nally, whose artwork inspires the 5th grade lessons. So this was last year's workshop, which also included University of Illinois students, and this year's workshop. So we just had this on September 7th, so very recently. And it's growing. We've got just amazing students that are participating in this, and they see the benefits. So this one also included some of our students that were at last year's workshop. So they've had the opportunity to go through this twice now, this particular group of juniors. So it's just enriching their experience. Every time you hear this information, it becomes deeper embedded in us. So yeah, we look forward to doing this workshop every year.
Oh, just some more images from the workshop. This is from specifically the focus on Myaamia ribbon work. So on the left is Karen Baldwin, the spouse of Daryl Baldwin, the founder of the Myaamia Center, and an accomplished ribbon work artist demonstrating the practice of traditional ribbon work in all its detail. And yeah, minute focus and work to the students. And then Kara Strauss, who's also an amazing ribbon work artist, and the tribal university liaison at the Myaamia Center, presenting on the history of ribbon work to the students there.
This was from last year's. So Kara and Jared Nally demonstrating how to play the moccasin game for our students. And then on the right, Megan Sekulich, and who was showing Griffin, one of our students, how to do letterpress with some Myaamia words.
Mm-hmm. And Megan Sekulich is a recent alumna of the art program here at Miami, but is also a Miami tribe citizen and works now as the head designer and in-house artist for the Myaamia Center here on campus. So she's a great asset. She is featured in a lot of the lessons that our students teach the fourth graders. And so she's a bit of a celebrity when the students from Fairview Clifton come to campus and they get to meet her.
This was from last year also. So Jared Nally had work in the Miami University Art Museum here, along with Scott Shoemaker's moccasins. And then the maquette for Eugene Brown's sculpture, which is also in the Art Museum. So these are pieces that we focus on with the sixth graders when they come for their field trip in November.
And so we're going to talk in a little bit more detail about what we actually do with these students. So big picture, right? We're partnering both in my elementary methods class and Stephanie's Art Across the Curriculum class with Christina Fox and scholars from the Myaamia Center, and with our pre-service art education students, right? Future art teachers, to develop curriculum, develop lessons that are then taught to area fourth graders and fifth graders and sixth graders in Stephanie's class in addition. So with the fourth grade lessons, right? The curriculum aligns with Ohio fourth grade history and art standards. And because we're generously being given time in these teachers' general education classrooms, right? We're not just visiting art classrooms, but these are the classrooms where the teachers have to cover everything. We aim to meet not just our art content standards that our students are used to meeting with their teaching, but also other subject area standards too, in this case, history standards. So the children are introduced to the Myaamia history of their presence on the lands where we currently live, learn, and teach. They learn about the forced removal of the Myaamia people from their homelands, including this land. But they also learn about the vibrant work that Myaamia citizens and scholars are doing today to revitalize their culture after centuries of displacement and cultural erasure. So in particular, students learn about this art form of Myaamia ribbon work that we've mentioned a few times now. They learn about the place Myaamia ribbon work is taking in the cultural revitalization work of the tribe and the amazing artistry required to do it well. We also stress when the fourth graders are making these ribbon work inspired crafts that they are inspired by ribbon work, that they're not actually ribbon work. Because another thing that our own students and the fourth graders we're working with learn is about the difference between appropriating an Indigenous culture, taking what's theirs as ours, and appreciating an Indigenous culture. So learning from researching and respecting a culture and developing artwork that can draw inspiration from it. So the students understand we are not minutely hand sewing beautiful silk ribbons, right, into this elaborate, authentic ribbon work, because that's not our place to do that. And we are not the accomplished artists that do that, but we are drawing inspiration from the aesthetics of this art practice and working on it with the youth, the fourth graders. Just a quick slide of some of our teachers from last year working with the fourth graders in the classroom. In the upper left, we've got some students that are introducing the Myaamia homeland or Myaamionge map, developed by Joshua Sutterfield, tribal member, to illustrate the historic homelands of the Myaamia and how it connects to the lands that we're on now. And then students in the lower right are introducing their lesson titled, right, Myaamiaki, Myaamia people, living people with a history. So there's again that emphasis on the Myaamia. There was a forced removal, but Myaamia people are alive today. Our contemporary people are creating culture today. Yeah, and Stephanie, you can take it away.
Yeah, so this is, we just started the fifth grade partnership last year, and that's in collaboration with a science teacher at Fairview Clifton. So we reach all of the fifth grade class at Fairview Clifton German Language School in Cincinnati. So they all have the fourth grade lessons, and now they have the fifth grade that's connected to science. So they're learning some different standards, some different content, and a different craft that they're doing. This is inspired by Jared Nally's work, who is a weaver, Myaamia weaver. And they talk about environmental reciprocity and thinking about native plants. A lot of our students and some of you alumni might have taken Bio 155 Field Botany, which is a really popular class on campus. And that is inspiring kind of how our students are connecting curriculum, thinking about art integration. We are connecting art, science, social emotional learning standards for this fifth grade lesson. This was last year in practice at the school. This is the second lesson. So I should clarify that these lessons happen over 2 weeks. And they're about 45 minutes to an hour each. And the students rotate through. So our art ed students stay in the same classroom all day, and then they see every fifth grader that is there on a Friday for 2 consecutive Fridays. So the first Friday, they set up the historical background. They do a short craft with cordage to introduce the weaving. And then the second week is when they actually do the weaving project. They do some review, and then they have a meaningful closure to tie it back to the goals of the lesson. This is the 6th grade lesson. So this was also brand new last year. And this is meant to be sort of a capstone of the curriculum. So these Fairview Clifton students have 3 consecutive years of Myaamia curriculum. They are learning different Myaamia words over each year. And then this 6th grade lesson is supposed to be a culminating type of lesson to really help the students think about what they've learned from the concepts that we've introduced. This is more of a drawing and an artist statement type of experience, and it's preparing them to come to the art museum. So we focus more on additional contemporary Myaamia artists, so they know what they're going to see when they come to the art museum in November. So this is like mid-October into November. So here's Riley showing some of Megan Sekulich's art, getting the students all excited to see it when they come to campus. And really thinking about just some different, Myaamia aesthetics and some reasons, some background for that, but also showing different formats. So there's printmaking there, and there's some digital art. This is just an image from the first field trip when all the 6th graders came to campus. So the students that were doing this, yes, art education students who have worked with these students, but we open it up to other art students who want an experience with museum education, museums and society minors who want to learn more about museum education. So it is exposure for a lot of our students on campus.
And we should note how significant this capstone field trip is for these 6th graders that come on it, because they get to meet artists, so they get to see the artwork in person. But also for many of them, it's their first time visiting a college campus. These are 6th graders. Our collaborator at Fairview Clifton, Allison Sears, has mentioned that there have been multiple times she's had students realize for the first time that a college campus is a place that they could be by coming on this trip, right? And having that be Miami's campus is great because it makes a really good impression on them.
And this is Allison, who we're talking about, our partnership coordinator. She's wonderful. She is a Miami alumni. She has a master's in social work from Miami, and she is a wonderful liaison. So this work could not be done without her at Fairview Clifton, because she helps us liaison between the faculty. It's significant that she is connected to Miami. And she's a location-based partnership coordinator there, Cincinnati Public Schools.
So we wanted to share some more minute, specific snapshots from some of the things the students were doing in the classroom. Because in particular with the 4th grade students who are teaching the students teaching the 4th graders, because that curriculum has been there since the beginning, since 2017, there's a lot more experience, and we have a lot more, old lesson plans, old ideas, lessons learned about what to do and what not to do. And so we've been able to give these Miami students a fair amount of freedom in developing the lessons the way they want to teach them, while still checking in regularly with our Myaamia mentors to make sure that we're teaching the right stuff the right way. But there's still a lot of space to teach it in different ways. And so they developed some really engaging and interesting ways to introduce and reinforce this Myaamia curriculum with the youth they were working with. And often these activities would draw upon the students' direct fieldwork observations from visiting their host classrooms in the weeks preceding the teaching. So these 2 students here, Hal and Ellen, developed a game centered around Myaamia language and the Myaamia vocabulary that they are introducing these children to. They developed a call and response game to solidify these Myaamia language terms. The words particular that they taught them were aya, which is hello, hoche, which means hey, like listen to me. It's good for teachers, right? and Newe, which means thank you. And they use the gestures that that classroom uses for those terms. So when they observed in that classroom, like everyone waves for hello when they're coming into the classroom. But then that classroom also used the sign language for thank you when they would thank each other to incorporate ASL. And they also had a gesture where they all held their hands up when like the teacher wanted attention that they associated with Hoche. And so they were having full body learning with this game in class to reinforce this language with the students and reinforce it as a living language that you can use, that has utility like the words you'd use in the classroom, because it's not a historic thing or a past thing or an ancient thing, right? It's a living language of a living people. Another pair of students, Ryan and Lucy, developed this really interesting activity based on their observation in their host classroom, where the students had just learned about Venn diagrams in a math context and were really like doing a lot of exercises. They're organizing things into these Venn diagrams. And they use that as a way to help reinforce with the students the difference between authentic ribbon work, which is made by Myaamia people using fabric, and ribbon work inspired designs that could be like a phone case or like the bookmark craft in those images on the right side of that slide up there. And not only did they draw upon a type of learning that these students were already engaging with, but by doing this activity where they're asking the students to fill this in, they're having the students generate their own ideas and their own language around making these categories to really solidify this understanding of like, what is ribbon work? What isn't ribbon work? What are areas that maybe overlap between those two? What are we making? What do Myaamia people make? And what is maybe the line between those two practices? And then another group of students were really interested in teaching more about the Myaamiongi map, the Myaamia homelands map. And they showcased the map and also a traditional like United States map of the same area. Ohio is kind of the eastmost part of that that map there. And so they could sort of overlay them or juxtapose them. And they asked the students to identify, so what's different on these ones? Like one map has big boundaries between different areas, right? Between the states. And that's not part of the Myaamiongi map. The Myaamiongi map really cares a lot about the rivers, right? The rivers are foregrounded. They're all named really clearly. They're not as visible on the state map. And what does that tell you about how these different people prioritize the way they think about the land and they talk about the land? And it led to these really rich discussions with these really little people about Myaamia culture and Myaamia history and Myaamia geography. We also wanted to share just some quotes that gave us warm fuzzies, but also showcase the importance of this work to our host teachers, because this work wouldn't be possible without them. So one of our host teachers here in Talawanda, Kate Bowers, a fourth grade teacher, said that she felt that the Myaamia ribbon work presentation was wonderful, right? That it made learning about the Myaamia more meaningful for her students. And in particular, I appreciated, she said, this kind of activity engages our students with cultures different from their own, because all of these classrooms that we're teaching in are majority settler classrooms, right? There are not a majority of Myaamia students in Oxford area classrooms. So they're learning new things, connecting with a new people that they maybe didn't even know still existed today. Barb Hamilton at Kramer said that when our students began to introduce appropriation as a concept, she was worried that the fourth graders in her class might not understand, because it's a tricky topic. Even our own students have trouble understanding what is and isn't cultural appropriation. However, they felt our students presented the concept in such an accessible way that the fourth graders understood and retained this important knowledge. So they're learning how to take really complex concepts and translate them and communicate them to, again, quite small people. And again, she also appreciated that these lessons reflected the fact that Myaamia are contemporary people, living people that the bookmarks will continue to remind students of. And then the last quote from our partner, Adam Farmer at Bogan Elementary, just mentioned how much the students loved the ribbon work craft, but also how many connections they were able to make across other lessons because of the focus on the different learning objectives across history and other subject matter areas. And so it's been able to emphasize how, or elaborate, right, how they talk about different indigenous groups who are not Myaamia and distinguish between the two, because they have this detailed understanding of specifically the Myaamia people that were on this land. Yeah.
So following our lessons, we celebrate and we reflect back. We do a lot of reflective practice during the lessons with our partners when we're developing and practicing. And then after we teach, we want feedback from our teachers and students that we've taught. But then we have this amazing opportunity to reflect with the business committee of the Myaamia Tribe of Oklahoma when they come to campus in November and early November. So these are elected leaders from the Myaamia Tribe of Oklahoma in this image. So they come to class, and our students then kind of elect speakers to discuss the lessons and how they went. This is a really special, meaningful time for them to reflect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're literally meeting the leaders of a nation, right? It's a big deal, and it's really special that our students get to present this work to them.
Sometimes it's overwhelming to them when they
Yeah.
really realize the impact of the work and how they can make a difference in bringing awareness to culture. These are some images. That's Aaron Beckloff and Cheyenne Baldwin on the right. This is in our letterpress studio on campus. We started making these letterpress posters. I showed the first one from our 2018 workshop. We take students to the Myaamia Winter Gathering in Myaamia, Oklahoma in January, the last weekend in January every year. And we create letterpress posters to signify or commemorate something that the Myaamia Tribe of Oklahoma is proud of or they want to celebrate. So our art students have the opportunity to help create and co-design these posters in, of course, collaboration with the Myaamia Center, and Megan Sekulich usually has a hand in all of them, just with approving the work. So this is one that we took in 2019 to the community in Oklahoma, but then everyone from Myaamia University that goes to the Winter Gathering also gets a copy of the posters. This is our group that went to the Winter Gathering. So they were very proud of their posters that they created. These are some of the posters that are hanging in Kara Strauss's office, but you can see they're starting to kind of, we love making these posters and we hope to make more in the future.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, we made one for the 50th, celebrate the 50th anniversary. There's Zach Tucker down there. So he's one of our communication design faculty members that was helping to teach the students the process of letterpress. Yeah, this was a special one. This is from last January, 2023. Now, this is just an example of, the shirt at the Winter Gathering. I know JJ's gone, and maybe some of you have gone on this trip. It's just a really special opportunity. We've now taken 11 students to the Winter Gathering. It's just an extra way for our students to experience the culture after they've taught the lessons. So we don't open up this opportunity until the students have taught the Myaamia lessons. This is Allie McLean, and there's Megan Sekulich behind her, and President Greg Crawford right next to them, playing the moccasin game at the Winter Gathering. Jared Nally's in that image too. Okay, and this is the bowl game. So our students, these are 4 art education students that went on the trip, now all alumni and all teaching, actually. So yeah, they loved the experience to interact and engage with traditional Myaamia games. And then they present about their work. They're leaders. So this is Mackenzie Meddy and Maria de Santiago Gallen presenting at the Undergraduate Research Forum in 2019, along with Kara Strauss and Bobby Burke there from the Myaamia Center. And then this is Cheyenne and Cheyenne presenting at our state conference in 2019. So when they go to the Winter Gathering, they become mentors for the next year's group of students. And they're highly encouraged to share their experiences with others in some kind of presentation or publication. So we're encouraging them to continue learning. So there's Allie and Molly. So our fantastic alumni presenting at our national conference, NAEA in New York City in March 2022. And then this was Will and Mia presenting at the Undergraduate Research Forum in 2023 about their experiences. Okay, so this is a very wordy slide, but we just wanted to highlight some of the outcomes from this partnership since 2017. So we've taught the lessons to almost 2,000 students. We're going to surpass that this fall. So we only teach these lessons in the fall. We are writing journal articles. We currently have one under review. We are doing lots of presentations at state and national conferences, regional conferences. We really want to highlight the work that our students are doing. So we've had 4 student presentations at our national conference, 3 student presentations at our state conference, 2 at our undergraduate research forum here on campus. 11 students have participated in the winter gathering so far. Hope to take 6 to 8 students this coming year. Peer mentoring is a really special part of this that we are really looking forward to expanding. It's kind of changing the culture of our program. I'm a faculty affiliate with the Myaamia Center. Luke has participated in the Indigenizing the Curriculum program, which is really special, and there's just a lot more to come from it. And we think this quote kind of sums up the fact that no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. So this work is centered around relationships, and we're so thankful for the relationship that we've developed with the Myaamia Center. They are very special people. We hope that you have some opportunity to interact and engage with learning more about Myaamia culture and their revitalization efforts.
I don't think I mentioned it. I totally breezed by when I was talking about the MHL, the Myaamia Heritage logo at the beginning, but a core Myaamia value that's emblemized in that logo is the concept of Nepwandinge, which means learning together. And it's a core value that's tied to this partnership that we described today and the partnership between the university and the tribe. And yeah, the idea that we're in a relationship with each other, learning from each other in a reciprocal way that is not taking too much, right? That is benefiting everyone involved is really important to this work for us. And yeah, that's what we wanted to share today. We're anxious to hear about what questions or comments people have. And then we also wanted to include, there's a link and a QR code there. If any alumni are interested in supporting the field trip for the 6th graders coming to campus, we always are pulling on different funding sources just to get the buses to transport kids from Cincinnati up to Oxford. And in the past, we've had things like COVID funds to draw from and things like that that are not as present now. And Miami Alumni Relations have been able to set up a fundraising page for us to help collect funds to help support these students engage in this really special experience. So if anyone likes to support that, that's a way for you to do that. And thanks so much.
All right. Thank you both so much. That's an amazing program you all have built. So congratulations. And thanks for sharing it with us and all the pictures. That was great. And we do have some questions. You actually just answered the first one from Matt. He said, how can we as alumni and Friends of Miami best support this program? And I'll throw the QR code back up for the simple way, but any other thoughts about alumni supporting the program?
I mean, just
that's a good enough way. We'll leave it at that.
I think that's a great way. And supporting our students. I mean, it's really, they're doing the hard work and supporting the Myaamia Center in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Oh, sorry, Luke, were you going to add something?
I was going to say there's also a fundraiser on the Move in Miami website for the Myaamia Center specifically. So if folks are interested in donating to the Myaamia Center towards funds that support Myaamia students who are enrolled at Miami, the Miami's track record with enrolling and graduating Indigenous students is miles ahead of like any other university that we've seen statistics for. And it's really incredible work. And the students that come as a part of that partnership are incredible students, like folks like Megan Sekulich. So there are definitely other ways to support the Myaamia Center as well beyond this partnership that yeah, just Googling Move in Miami, Myaamia Center will bring up those options too.
All right. Great, thank you. Elaine asked a question, has there been any surprising revelations by the elementary school students about the history in their artwork? I think you might have touched on that a little, but any examples come to mind of students learning something specific about history?
Gosh, so much. Yeah. I think this one thing that is really kind of mind-blowing for students was we found like one of the bedrocks for this research was we were looking into the history standards in the state of Ohio, and Christina shared a really great study that looked at specifically history standards across all the 50 states related to indigenous topics. And Ohio is about 7th from the last, at least as of 2015 when the data was collected. We have 7 history standards total for our whole curriculum focusing on indigenous people. And importantly, at the time that data was collected, none of the standards included talking about indigenous people past, I think, the year 1900, right? So one of the things that really blew the minds of these children was the idea that like indigenous people are still alive and they're still making art. And I might get to meet an indigenous artist who's making this really cool stuff that these students are sharing with me. And that there are still artists making these really beautiful ribbon work artworks that we're making an inspired craft based on. I mean, so just the idea that, right, indigenous people are not something that's just in the history books, or not just something that's far in the past, right? They're not fossils, they're not mummies, they are humans, living culture, living today, that you can meet, that you can learn from, that you can love. You can appreciate their relationship to the land historically and now. Yeah, is like an eye-opener for a lot of these kids, and they get really excited about the prospect of meeting people or coming to campus to see these artists and to learn more about what's happening now with the tribe, not just what happened to them in the past.
Awesome. All right, I have one more. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
I was just going to throw in that this is an unlearning process for our students as well, and which I have gone through every year. I recognize like how hard it is to unlearn how you were taught as a child. So our students are doing that. They're processing that. There's sometimes some big emotions to think about. But we're here to support them. The Myaamia Center is here to support them as they go through this growth and learning process.
Great. All right, I have one more. So live viewers, last chance to get a question in if you want to have anything else answered. This one's from Shelley. If teachers outside of the Ohio, Oxford, or Cincinnati area are interested in these lesson plans, is there any way to share them or any plans for expanding this lesson?
We always want to defer to our partners at the Myaamia Center about it, but we're happy to talk to anyone. So if you're interested and you want to know more about this work, we would love to talk to you. And we, of course, can share pieces of it. We're scheduled to talk to teachers in Columbus through the History Connection. So we talk to other teachers about this curriculum too. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, and like Stephanie was saying, we do defer to our partners because one of the reasons we don't just publish all of this curriculum up online like we might do with some of our other art education materials is some of the things that are included in the curriculum or in our PowerPoints that are shared with the children are cultural materials, right? And if the goal of our lesson is that we're teaching children not to take things without permission, right? Not to appropriate. We want to make sure we're being really clear and communicative and collaborative in the ways we share things, but also in all of our experiences with folks at the Myaamia Center, they've been extremely generous, right, with sharing this kind of work. And so reaching out to us and through us to our partners at the Myaamia Center could be a great way to open up a conversation about teaching this kind of curriculum in other contexts.
Perfect. All right. So bottom line, if you want to learn more, you are welcome to connect with Stephanie and Luke, and you can find their emails on the Miami website, I'm sure. And with that, I think we'll leave it today. Thank you both so much again for sharing your time, especially at the start of the semester when things are crazy and you're both teaching. We really appreciate you sharing this story with us and all the work you do. It's so important. So thanks for being with us. Those of you that are watching live, I'll get one quick add-in. We have a special presentation Friday morning. We're going to be showing live on video the presentation of our Freedom Summer Award, which is going to Carol Anderson this year. And so that'll be at Hall Auditorium on campus, but we're going to have it also on the webinar stream if you can't make it to Oxford. So that's the next program we suggest you watch. It's on our webinar platform like everything else at alumlc.org/MiamiOH. One more time, thank you to Luke and Stephanie, and love and honor. See you later.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.